does the audio adventures of Doctor Who. We also do a lot of other series as well. And we do a lot of spin-off stuff from Doctor Who, which includes things like Jago and Lightfoot.
Yay!
Yeah. Now, if you haven't tried Jago and Lightfoot yet, it's fantastic. It's the only show, you could never do it on television because you'd never get away with it these days, but it's two octogenarians, two 80-year-olds who basically go around solving mythical crimes and fantasy crimes. It stars the two gentlemen from Talons of Weng-Chiang, which are Trevor Baxter and Christopher Benjamin. And Trevor actually said to me, he came up to me and said, "You know, if you cancel this series, I'll die." What? He went, "No, there's nothing else worth living for." And I was like, "Oh, okay, so I've got to do it forever." I've got no choice, because he's put the hard word on me. Hello Matthew, how are you?
I'm doing very well, how about you?
Not too bad, thank you very much. I'm going to show you something in a minute. Not now, in a minute. Which is a Big Finish is expanding. We're actually doing a lot more these days. There's a new media group called Big Finish Media Group, and we've done 2 TV series so far, and we are doing a 26-part animation series for 8 to 14-year-olds, which is a sci-fi based series which is produced for ABC TV, and distributed by ABC Commercial, which hopefully you will see relatively soon. It starts in summer 2016, and we've been going for 18 months already, so it's 2.5 years to do the first series, because it takes an awful lot of time to do the setup on these things. And then hopefully we're going straight to do season 2 and a movie as well. So I'll show you a little clip from that, exclusive, don't tell anyone. Oh, he's walking away, Matthew.
I thought you wanted me to dim the lights.
Oh, no, not at all. No,
Okay.
no. I was going to talk about the audio stuff first.
Oh, yes.
So Matthew, asking you some questions. The first question is, when is River Song out? That was from you, wasn't it? You asked me, I said, ask me later. Okay, we'll pretend that didn't happen. Ask me again.
When does the River Song episode come out?
Oh, that was totally unprepared. January. We've rushed it forward. To be honest with you, there's been so much excitement about Alex coming back playing River Song that we've pushed it forward a bit. So originally she was going to appear first in the Doom Coalition with Paul McGann. So you're going to have Paul McGann and River Song together. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
Yes.
We pushed it forward, and it's actually going to be January of next year. So we've recorded them all, and they're being edited at the moment, and it's very exciting. We've been very lucky, actually. We've just we've got an extension to the license in many ways, and we're now able to do certain things from the new series.
Right.
And your question is going to be. Well, yes, absolutely. Well, we're doing classic Doctor's new villains, as it were, new monsters, and we get the Weeping Angels on audio. I'll give you a preview of the cataclysmic moment when they attack. It's really awesome.
That's the question I was going to ask, because being on a bunch of the social media groups dedicated to Big Finish, the very first question that popped up when their box set came out was, how do you do silent Weeping Angels on the audio?
Like this. No, it's going to be, look, there's something not moving in the corner. It's going to be wonderful. Of course, we all, you know what how to beat the Weeping Angels? Everyone knows this, don't they? Keep one eye open at all times. Keep one eye. Easy. I'll tell you a little story actually. Sorry, completely off Doctor Who. Who knows the BBC television series Edge of Darkness? Right, okay, there's only 2 people here. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's wonderful.
It's a great thriller mini-series from the mid-80s.
Yes, not in any... Don't see the movie. Avoid the Mel Gibson movie. It's horrendous. But Martin Campbell directed the original BBC version, and Joanna Whalley-Kilmer, Joanna Whalley now, she got divorced from Val Kilmer. I met her in Hollywood a little while ago. She came to a show I was doing there, and I went, oh, and I got a chance to chat to her about it because it's one of my favourite TV shows of all time. If you haven't seen it, do go and get it. It's absolutely amazing actor.
And it is available on DVD here in the US.
Oh, is it? Well, there we go. Okay. Well, there's the lead actor in that, Bob Peck, slightly ruining it for you. His daughter dies in the first episode. That's in most of the adverts anyway, so you know. And
for those who don't know who Bob Peck is, he was the gamekeeper in the original Jurassic Park.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, he had a huge career in at the RSC, then did Edge of Darkness, which was chosen specifically for him. Spielberg saw him in that, thought he was amazing, cast him in that, and then he died of cancer. So his career, unfortunately, was very much stunted by that. So in fact, I think his last performance is probably Jurassic Park.
I think so.
The only reason this came to mind is that I was talking to Joanna Whalley about him, and she said, I said, his performance was so mesmeric and it's so unearthly and amazing, and I couldn't figure out why. And she said, oh no, Bob's amazing, but you know, it was a pain in the arse. I said, all right, why? She said, because he decided that after his daughter dies, he wouldn't blink on camera again. So you had a whole series with an actor who doesn't blink on camera. So that's what I went, oh my God, that makes sense. So I understood why he was so unearthly and so ethereal and so different in his perception. But it was a nightmare for the production team because every time he accidentally blinked, they had to go back and redo the scene. So that was an actor's choice where everyone in the room was going, yes, that's right, Paul, we'll go back and do that again. So, anyway, sorry, completely off the point. So he would have been brilliant against the Weeping Angels. He would have, no problems at all. Sorry, I've got completely off the subject, carry on.
Alright, let's go back to the beginning.
Yes.
Big Finish, 1999.
Yep.
Sitting down to do Sirens of Time, the very first one.
Yep.
Did you have any idea that 15 and a half years later you'd be standing in North Alabama talking about it to a room full of people?
No. And in fact, fundamentally that day changed our lives because it led to so many different things. If we hadn't been there that day, Nick Briggs would never have played the Daleks or the Cybermen or the Jadoon or anything like that because Nick, I should go back a little stage, which is prior to that, all of us had been involved with a little amateur audio company called Audio Visuals, who were doing totally illegal Doctor Who productions with Nick Briggs as the Doctor, and also playing the Daleks and so forth, and various others of us doing production on it, whether it's writing, producing, directing, whatever, acting as well. I was horrendous, it was amazing. If any of you illegally downloaded from some website, don't tell me where it is, for God's sake, I don't want to see.
I have legitimate original cassette copies.
Oh, there we go. We were on cassette back in that day. Cassette love. That's the thing you put into a cassette player and, you know, she doesn't understand. Okay, fine. So we started back then, and if we hadn't have done Dalek Empire, if you look back at our subscribers from the day, subscribers include Russell T. Davis was a subscriber when we started. David Tennant was a subscriber as well. And I don't know, I think apparently got his from Forbidden Planet, I think, because he wasn't a subscriber, but he was very obvious he did know exactly who I was when I met him. I actually produced, I produce theatre in the West End as well. I produced 9 shows in the West End, one of which was Lady Killers, which Capaldi starred in. And he's genuinely, he is as lovely as he seems. That's the general thing about doctors, actually, they're all lovely. No, going back to that day, Nick would never have been the Daleks. I wouldn't have gone on to do a lot of the stuff I've done because Doctor Who opened so many different doors for you, especially when he came back as a series. Gary Russell would never have become the script editor on Doctor Who, Torchwood and Sarah Jane because he was headhunted from us to go and join Russell.
Right.
And, you know, things would have been very, very different now. But the great thing is that we're building towards different things as well. Like I said, with the new animation series, we've got a film going into production in September over in Ireland. You know, there's stuff that we wouldn't have dreamed of, which has come from that moment of starting with Doctor Who. Yeah.
So, I mean, but, you know, you started off to begin with, as you said, you had subscribers like Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat and all that, and then the show comes back in 2005.
Yeah.
Was there a concern that, like, the BBC might suddenly go, well, the show's back on, because they ended their book rages they had going at that point. Was there a concern?
Yeah. No. Russell, I mean, this was a secret we kept for a very long time, actually, and then Russell actually did eventually, when I was interviewed for one of the 50th anniversary videos.
Which we are showing in the viewing room this afternoon.
Oh, there you go. Thank you very much. It's interesting because when I was interviewed for that, I gave the standard line, and then the guys behind the camera went, no, Russell's told us the truth. And I was like, oh, right, okay. I'll tell you the truth then. The truth is that the head of drama at the time, Mal Young, discovered that we existed and tried to close us down, basically. Which would have been really difficult, because I don't think he appreciated certain things like we had a contract. But apart from that, he basically went, well, what's all this? This has got to stop now. And Russell, as he says in the video, came out and he was at the meeting and stood up. He said he stood up and raised himself to his 6'5", leant over now and said, "It's fine, don't worry, I'll deal with it." And that was the last comment that was ever made by Mal on Big Finish, apparently. So he stopped it dead. So we have, the fact that we're still standing here now is down to Russell stopping Mal Young directly in his tracks.
And of course, Big Finish has now adapted Russell's 1996 Seventh Doctor novel Damaged Goods for audio.
Yes, and he was so excited about that as well, because it's a new lease of life for it, and it's interesting going back and listening to that now. You can see elements of what he brought to the new series, because in many respects it was it's Russell's take on Doctor Who in a very early form.
Yeah. It's quite a bit darker and more adult than what the show would become.
Yes, and also, you know, it features a gay couple, stuff like that,
yeah.
Which, when that first came on...
A Tyler family living on a housing estate.
That as well, yeah, absolutely. It's one of his favourite surnames, Tyler.
Right.
He loves Tyler, he thinks it's a really good name, he uses it all over the place. But it's interesting because at the time, getting Russell to do a show, to do the book, was quite a big thing because he was becoming such a big television writer. I mean, one of the reasons that Doctor Who happened was because the BBC desperately wanted to get Russell back. And I'm aware of 2 other pitches that went in to the BBC to do Doctor Who prior to Doctor Who coming back with Russell. And one of them was done by a friend of mine, so I'm not naming any names. And when they put them in, the BBC were like, oh yeah, okay, well, you know, Doctor Who, okay. But basically, when Russell came back to the BBC, he brought, because originally Casanova was an ITV production, and that came over with him, and that's how we got David, because that was funny, because I'd worked 16 times with David. It was an audio production, because he came in through a very good friend of ours, Toby Longworth, who I'm working with now on Prison Zero. And Toby, brilliant voice man, and he was at the RSC with David, and he said, oh, I've got this mate, David Tennant, he's a really good actor, and he really loves Doctor Who, you should get him in. I went, yeah, all right. And so he cast him in this small part, he came in, he was really good.
He was a German guard in Poland.
Yes, that's right, yes, he's a Nazi.
Now imagine Scottish David Tennant putting on a German accent, everybody. Just imagine this.
That is correct. You're a king, whoa. That is the real side. I mean, to be honest with you, everyone thinks David's really nice. Have a look at those eyes. Look, they're quite dead, really. And basically, the Nazi side of him is more like David in real life. No! That's not true. He's lovely, he's sweet and cute. I went to see him, actually. He always downplays everything. He's a great leading man. One of the things that was mentioned to me when he was filming for Doctor Who is that it was wonderful because you're filming at 4 o'clock in the morning. You need a guy who's always up and really galvanising the whole crew and cast and leading the way, and he's absolutely a leading man in that respect. But he downplays everything. And while we were recording, I think it was Dalek Empire 4, which he plays the lead in, it's quite ironic, you know, he's playing a...
I think it's 3 actually.
It was 3, you're right. Yeah. 3, 4 was Noel Clarke.
Oh, yes. I'm such a nerd.
Yeah, it's great. He's more of a nerd than me, which is wonderful. So I'm going to use my repository of nerdity. I said nerdity, not nudity.
I do a podcast about you guys.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know this.
Stories from the Vortex. Check us out. Stories from the Vortex. We're also on iTunes.
So anyway, David came and said, "Oh, I'm at the National at the moment. Do you want to come and see it?" And I went, "Yeah, yeah." I thought, oh, David's at the National. He's probably carrying a spear somewhere. And I went to go along and see it with my then girlfriend, and he got us in. It was complete sold out. He got us in for a matinee, and we sat there. And he came out and started his speech, and then the lead actor, the other lead actor who had just won an Oscar, came out, and they started acting together, and I went, "Oh, God, he's the lead." So he always downplays everything. Really, he's very sweet, but he takes his acting very, very seriously, and then not much else very seriously. So he's lovely. But it's fantastic that we got guys like David. When Chris Eccleston left on the Sunday, I think it broke on like the Friday or the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, I got a phone call from someone who remained nameless going, "Guess who the new Doctor Who is?" I went, "Oh, is it someone we know?" And he went, "Yes." And I said, "Okay." And I guessed all the usual suspects like Mark Gatiss and people like that, and David Warner and blah blah blah. And he went, "David Tennant." I went, "Oh my God." And the first thing I thought of is, he must have said yes like this. Yes! He would have been very quick. Anyway, sorry, I've lost the point again.
It's
Sorry.
Quite all right. It's quite all right. Now, you mentioned David Warner.
David Warner,
but
yes.
you guys basically keep employed.
Yes.
Because he's done everything from main range audios. He actually played an alternative Third Doctor, the wonderful Doctor Who Unbound series. Because he is fairly high quality. He's done Hollywood films. He's done a bit of anything and everything.
So basically, your question is, why does he work for a cheap shot company like me?
You may very well think that, but I couldn't possibly comment.
Indeed, yes. David actually loves acting. David Warner is a fantastic actor. He's an Emmy Award winner over here. I think he's been nominated for an Oscar. I can't remember.
I think so, but I'm not sure for what he would be.
Some time ago, back in the 70s. He was the Hamlet of his generation, and he's a brilliant performer, and we're very lucky to have him, and he just loves acting. So what he does is he comes in and he just acts on anything we ask him to, and he just wants to come in and act, which is wonderful. But so we've been very lucky to work with David. It's been an ongoing... Hello, someone's doing that at us.
Nick, what time is it?
Yeah.
So currently 30 as the hour.
Fantastic.
Alright.
So basically, I think we should throw it over to you guys.
Yes, I was about to suggest.
Oh, here we go. Right, straight up. This young lady here.
I saw the other day that
we'll
you're
bring you
doing
a
the
mic.
Torchwood audio adventure featuring Yanto Jones.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you tell me about it?
Right. So the Torchwood audio starring Yanto Jones. What can I tell you about it?
Yes.
I can tell you absolutely nothing because it would ruin it. No, basically, we hands up all of you like Torchwood. Brilliant, thank you very much. Basically, we've got the rights to Torchwood, and we're going to do them as enhanced talking books, which are like the companion chronicles, with 2 or 3 actors in each to start with. And then, if they sell enough, then we will move on to maybe doing some full cast. So what you want to do is buy them!
I'll buy it.
Okay, because we really want to do full cast. And so do the cast, to be frank. They are all so excited about coming back. And you should see John Barrowman bouncing up and down and being happy and smiley. And but he does that on, you know, it's an ordinary day for John, yeah, absolutely, because he does that all the time anyway. No, we're so looking forward to it. And River Song, as you know, is coming back, I said January. We got Churchill coming back in Nice to do the Churchill Chronicles, and basically it's going to be enhanced readings again. So we're going to have the 3 doctors he encountered. Well, 2 doctors and the one before he encountered. So and we're then going to go off. Oh, I can't tell you that. Yeah, well, there's a lot of good stuff coming. There's a lot of good stuff coming. We've got something so exciting, which we can't announce yet, which is going to be recorded in September. So once we've got it in there, you'll see a great big photograph come up on the website, and it may have me in it like this. So that would be good.
All right, this young lady right here has a question.
Hey, I was wondering, do you guys want to kind of stick to British writers the way the series does? Because I happen to know a best-selling sci-fi writer who really wants to write for Doctor Who.
Oh, okay. So we do open submissions now and again. We do them for a very short period of time. There's a very good reason for this, which is that the last time we opened it for 1 week, we got 1,200 entries, which took nearly a year for Alan Barnes to go through. From that, we did actually get 2 writers. So our hit rate is quite low. It's like 0.16%. So, you know, it is difficult. However, we're open to American writers. I was actually with Darren Henry in LA earlier this week, and Darren wrote the game for us, for example. But he's, unfortunately, I'd love him to work with us again, but he's actually executive producing a Disney show at the moment, and he writes a load of very, very big name products. He wrote for Family Guy, he wrote for Seinfeld, he was executive producer on Seinfeld as well, so he's just always busy. I'd love to get him back at some point. I think we're scheduled for like 2020 on his agenda, because he's such a great writer.
Because Timothy Zahn loves Doctor Who.
Sorry?
Timothy Zahn, he wrote all the best-selling Star Wars novels,
Oh,
and the
right,
Terminator
okay.
tie-in, and dozens of original novels.
All right, you should get his agent to
You
contact
hit him up.
us. So no, we love, you know, great writers coming to us, but it's sometimes difficult. If you do prose, it's not the same thing. There's one massive selling science fiction author that we eventually we had to scrap the script because he just could not do it. He couldn't write Doctor Who. Doctor Who is so much more difficult to write than you think. It's actually it's a complete different technique in some respects.
Can I take a guess who that might be?
No.
Okay.
I was wondering, would you guys ever consider doing John Hurt War Doctor stories?
Yeah.
Could happen. Who knows? Who knows? You know, obviously we'd love to do that. If we ever got the opportunity to, that would be fantastic.
And then you, and then
Do you think you'll continue things like you did with the Tom Baker interviews and the Colin Baker one that's coming up?
Yeah, as they sell, you know. If you're not aware of it, there's a big interview with Colin Baker, which if you pre-order, you get a free signature on your disc. And that's selling really well. We did one with Tom for his 80th. That's why we did it, because Tom was 80. And we're very lucky to have Tom back, actually. As you know, for many, many years, he was very wary of playing the Doctor again, and then he's come back. And he's gone public with the fact he should have done it 10, 15 years ago when we started. And he has missed out, but he really loves doing it now. And we, I mean, he's 82, you'd never know it. Absolutely wouldn't know he's 82. He does such a brilliant job. Next question.
What kind of restrictions did the BBC put on you when you first started?
Very little. Ask me what restrictions they put on us now.
Alright. What restrictions have they put on you now?
Well, no, when we first started, there was one guy checking to make sure we script. Let's put it this way. It starts with us giving a 1-paragraph outline of every story to originally Russell and now to Stephen. So they get to go yes, no. So the classic example of this was we did a story about Queen Victoria, and Russell went no.
I believe that was Other Lives in Memory Serves.
I can't remember. Yeah, it may well have been. Yes, we had to change it. And when we saw the first season of Doctor Who, we went, hang on a minute, there's no Queen Victoria in that, but he was already planning season 2. He already had that completely fleshed out. So yes, So there are a lot more restrictions now. It goes between, you know, Doctor Who is a worldwide brand. It's actually the second biggest brand in the world after Star Wars. It's massively bigger than Star Trek now, and has been for the last couple of years. It is actually very important to the BBC now. obviously, back in the day, it was less important to the BBC. I did actually point out, a bit naughty, don't tell anyone this. I did actually point, someone was like, oh yeah, we're in 79 million people now watching Doctor Who, blah, blah, blah. I went, oh yeah, you've only, oh no, it was 95 million here, yeah, sorry, 95 million people watching Doctor Who, and I went, oh yeah, it's about 55 million to go to get back to where we were in 1983, because that's where we were, back then, there was 150 million people around the world who watched Doctor Who. So we've still got a little way to go, but it is great that so many countries are now coming to Doctor Who and really loving it. And it's going all over the place. We do a convention called Big Finish Day, which we restrict it deliberately to 300 people. It sells out like that, but it's basically for us to get personal and meet the fans who love Big Finish. And we have people now flying in from Russia for it. There was the most surreal moment. I don't know if any of you, how many of you followed Gallifrey, the series? Yeah, a few of you, okay. So Sean Carson, who plays, Narvin. So Sean Carson turned up, and these girls from Russia were huge fans, and they'd actually travelled from Russia to meet Sean. Sean's never been famous one day in his life. And suddenly he had three quite good-looking Russian girls going, oh my God, it's Sean Carson. And he was like, oh, okay. So Big Finish Day is fantastic, it's great fun. We're going to overrun, because I don't care. Sorry, another question.
I had a question about the story y'all just released last year, Frankenstein, with Arthur Dahler and stuff.
Amazing.
But can you tell us how that all came about and how that, and just, of course, Georgia Bond fit it and
I've always been very keen to do some classic series. I mean, the one that's about to come out is Wizard of Oz, which is brilliantly cast and which is going to be fantastic. But we're doing all these things that are out of copyright, which are under the classic label. Part of it started that Tom Baker said, I've always wanted to do Long John Silver, you just need, you need to do Treasure Island now. And we were like, okay. So we did it, because when Tom says a request like that, you go and do it. And if you haven't heard his Long John Silver and Treasure Island, it's absolutely amazing. It's ridiculously good. But we did Frankenstein because, funny enough, Arthur was attached right from the start, because it came out of the conversation with Arthur where we were like, we'd love to work with you, but we can't do Rory at the moment, so is there anything else? He said, oh, really like to do one of those, something totally different to the character that people know me for, and something very, very, very different. So we looked around at what we had and we thought, Frankenstein. No one's done a definitive Frankenstein for years. It's always been a different version of the film. So we went back and did the definitive version from the book. Interesting enough, Phantom of the Opera, our version of Phantom of the Opera is actually not from the English version, it's from the French version. Because the English version was actually massively changed because Victorian sensibilities. So they cut out a lot of the more interesting stuff. And also in the original French book, you could actually work out the opera passages which they were singing on stage, which they took out of the English version. So when Barney went back, he's a fluent French speaker, and redid it from the book, he went, we find it's the first time ever we've actually used the right opera passages in the movie. Wow. In the audio, because all the movies have always used the wrong ones or approximated or not got it right. So it's amazing that no one's actually gone back to the original French version and actually looked up what the opera passages were supposed to be. Anyway, sorry, that's a little side note, but so we've really enjoyed doing those, and working with Arthur has been fantastic. He's such a brilliant actor. I know he's over here doing a DC series at the moment, and I'm sure you're all watching that. But yeah. So another question. Hello.
If you could choose any of the doctors to work with, which one would it be? And why?
Well, to be honest with you, there's several. I mean, I love working with Peter in the West End. I'll tell you a little story. I went into when it was opening night, just after opening night, funny enough, this is clang, I'm just going to name drop now. So I took David Tennant in to see Peter Capaldi, as you do, because I'd taken David's wife in, Georgia, to go and see the show previously, and and David wanted to, and she went back and raved about it. It's an amazing show, you must see it. So he went, oh great, let's go and see it. So he knows Peter, so they got, they came in, and I brought, I knew